Ladies and gentlemen, you wake up every morning and you've got a choice. You've got a decision to make. The way you approach this day will define the way your life goes. It's not about luck. It's not about circumstances. It's about your mindset, your attitude, your resolve. It's about what you tell yourself before you even step out of bed. You have power, and you've got to know it. You've got to believe it. Because everything you need is already inside of you. You just have to wake it up. When you wake up in the morning, look in that mirror and say to yourself, I am enough. Understand what that means. I am enough. It means that right now, right in this moment, you've got everything you need to start. You've got the tools, you've got the strength, you've got the willpower. Don't wait for the world to tell you that you're enough. Tell yourself. Because when you know you're enough, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. The world may throw challenges at you. People might doubt you. Circumstances might not be in your favor. But when you know deep down in your soul that you're enough, nothing on the outside can affect your inside. You can rise above anything. And that's how you win. That's how you break barriers. You win because you start with the belief that you're already worthy of success, worthy of happiness, worthy of everything that you desire. Don't wait for others to validate you. Start by validating yourself. Then tell yourself, I'm going to do my best today. Don't worry about perfection. Perfection is a lie. Don't let people trick you into thinking that if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Your best might look different from someone else's best, but as long as you give your best, that's all that matters. And what does your best look like today? It's not about running on empty. It's not about overexerting yourself. It's about showing up. Giving your best means being present in the moment. It means committing to whatever task you're facing, no matter how big or small. If you're going to do it, then do it right. No shortcuts, no excuses. The best version of yourself doesn't give half effort. You give everything you've got. There's going to be days when you feel tired. There's going to be days when you don't feel like pushing. But that's when your commitment to doing your best matters the most. When you don't feel like it, that's when you've got to dig deep. That's when the true strength comes out. And when you do your best, even on the tough days, you'll look back and be proud of what you've accomplished. Now, remind yourself, I am in control of my attitude. What happens today, how the day unfolds. It's not in your hands, but how you respond, how you show up. That's all on you. Your attitude is a choice, and it's the one thing you control every single day. You can wake up in a bad mood, you can face challenges with frustration, or you can make the choice to see things differently. You decide if you're going to let life's circumstances dictate your attitude, or if you're going to choose to rise above them. Life's going to throw curveballs. You can't control that. But you can control how you react. And that's where the power lies. Think about it. You wake up and the traffic's bad. Your coffee spills. Your meeting doesn't go well. Life's going to happen. It's going to throw its punches. But you can choose how you react. You can choose to let those little setbacks ruin your entire day. Or you can decide to rise above them, keep a positive mindset, and keep moving forward. When you understand that you control your attitude, that's when you start realizing that nothing and no one has the power to break your spirit. You stay grounded. You stay focused. You stay in control of your emotional state. Say it again, I am in control of my attitude. Say it loud. Say it proud. Own it. Next, tell yourself, I will not fear failure. Fear is the biggest thief of success. It will rob you of your potential if you let it. Failure is a part of the journey, not something to fear. Failure doesn't define you. How you handle it defines you. Everyone's afraid of failing. Every successful person has been through failure. What makes them different is how they respond to it. If you fail, get back up. Don't make it personal. Failure isn't a reflection of your worth. It's just a lesson. Learn from it, adjust, and keep moving forward. If you fail, you haven't failed for good. You've just learned what didn't work, and now you know what does. Fear of failure is the number one thing that holds people back. It makes them play small. It makes them doubt their abilities. But when you accept failure as part of the process, you take away its power. You keep moving forward, regardless of the outcome. When you let go of that fear, there's nothing that can stop you. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of never trying. You've got to be willing to risk it. You've got to be willing to fail in order to succeed. And when you get up after every setback, that's when you build real strength. Then tell yourself, I will stay disciplined. Discipline is the foundation of everything. Success doesn't come from motivation. It doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from discipline. The ability to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. The ability to stick to your routine, even when it's hard. We all want to be successful, but it takes more than just wanting it. It takes consistency. It takes doing the things you need to do, even when no one's watching. That's discipline. The ability to make decisions that align with your goals, even when it's uncomfortable. When you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like putting in the work, you've got to remember that discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. You do what needs to be done because you know it's the right thing. Even when it's difficult, even when it's inconvenient. That's when the transformation happens. The secret to achieving greatness, discipline. The more disciplined you are, the more you put in the effort when it counts, the more success will come. Discipline makes ordinary people extraordinary. Tell yourself this next, I am worthy of success. Too many people don't believe they deserve success. They think they have to prove themselves. They think success is for others, but not for them. Let me tell you something, you're worthy. You've got everything it takes to succeed. But you've got to believe it. You are not here by accident. You are not here to live a life of mediocrity. You are here to do great things. You are worthy of happiness, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of success. Don't let anyone make you feel less than what you are. You are a powerful individual with everything you need inside of you. Don't wait for others to tell you that you're worthy. Know it for yourself. Believe it with every fiber of your being. When you believe that you're worthy of success, you'll stop settling for less than you deserve. You'll stop making excuses. You'll stop doubting yourself because you know you are worthy. And when you know that, everything changes. Tell yourself, I will take care of myself. Your health is everything. Without it, you've got nothing. You've got to take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give to others if you don't give to yourself first. Self-care is not selfish. It's necessary. Taking care of your physical health, your mental health, your emotional well-being, it's not something you should do just when you feel like it. It should be a daily practice. Make time for it. Even if it's just a few minutes a day. Your body needs rest. Your mind needs peace. Your soul needs nourishment. You are your greatest asset. You've got to protect that asset. Feed it, move it, challenge it, rest it. The better you take care of yourself, the better you'll show up for others. The more energy you'll have to go after your goals. So take care of yourself. Prioritize your health. Your mind and body are your most important tools. Keep them sharp, strong, and healthy. Tell yourself, I will never give up. There are going to be times when it gets hard. You're going to hit obstacles. There are going to be moments when you feel like you're not getting anywhere. That's when most people quit. That's when most people say, I've had enough. But not you. You're not like most people. When you say you'll never give up, you mean it. You keep going even when the road is tough. You don't let setbacks stop you. You keep pushing. You don't give up on yourself. You don't give up on your dreams. You keep going even when it feels like everything is falling apart. The people who succeed are the ones who keep going when everyone else quits. They don't stop when things get hard. They keep going because they believe in themselves. They keep going because they know their dreams. Start each day by affirming that you are enough and worthy of success. Recognize that you already possess everything you need to succeed, and your belief in yourself is the foundation for overcoming challenges and achieving your goals. Success comes from showing up every day and doing your best, even when motivation fades. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and reality. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. You control your attitude and how you react to life's challenges. Don't fear failure, view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. The most successful people are those who embrace setbacks, stay disciplined, and maintain a positive mindset. Prioritize self-care and never give up. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional health, as it's essential for long-term success. Remember that resilience is key. The path to success requires persistence, and the most successful people are those who never give up, no matter the obstacles they face. When you wake up in the morning, before you do anything, before you even get out of bed, you need to speak to yourself. You need to tell yourself, I am enough. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful declarations you can make. It's a statement that has the potential to change everything about the way you approach your life, your dreams, and your struggles. Too many people live their lives waiting for permission. They wait for someone to tell them that they're worthy, that they have what it takes, that they're good enough. They search for external validation, and when they don't get it, they feel small, invisible, or incapable. The truth is, if you're waiting for others to tell you that you're enough, you'll be waiting forever. You can't rely on anyone else to give you the affirmation and belief that you are worthy. You need to give that to yourself. You need to look in the mirror every day and see yourself as powerful, as capable, as worthy of everything you desire. You need to start each day with the understanding that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because you have a purpose. You are worthy because you are human. And being human means you have infinite potential inside you. But believing in your worth isn't just a nice idea. It's not just something to say to yourself because it sounds good. It's something that you must internalize at a deep emotional level. You must know it with every fiber of your being. You need to understand that no one, absolutely no one, can diminish your worth. No insult, no failure, no rejection, no bad decision can erase the value you have within you. The world may try to tell you otherwise, but that's just noise. Don't let that noise distract you from your truth. Your worth isn't based on external approval or the opinions of others. It's based on the simple fact that you exist and you have the power to shape your life. The first step to believing in your worth is to stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone has their own path, their own timeline. Just because someone else is further along doesn't diminish your worth. Just because someone else has more success, more money, more recognition doesn't make them more valuable than you. We all have our own struggles, our own battles. We all have our own dreams. Don't get caught up in measuring your progress against someone else's. Your worth is not contingent upon how well someone else is doing. Your worth is in your ability to keep going, to keep striving, to keep believing in yourself, no matter how long it takes or how difficult the journey becomes. When you start to compare yourself to others, you're giving away your power. You're telling yourself that you're not enough as you are. You're allowing someone else's success or someone else's progress to determine your value. But remember, your journey is unique. The person you're comparing yourself to is on a completely different road, and their path has no bearing on your own. You must stop looking outside of yourself for validation. Look inside. You are the only person who can define your worth. And it's crucial that you know your worth, because everything else in your life will stem from that. If you don't believe you're worthy, then you'll allow others to treat you in ways that are less than what you deserve. You'll allow people to walk all over you, take advantage of you, and make you feel like you're not good enough. But when you believe you are worthy, you'll set healthy boundaries. You'll demand respect. You'll stop settling for anything less than what you deserve. That's why believing in your worth is not just an internal exercise, it's a boundary-setting tool. When you know your worth, you don't have to beg for attention or approval. You don't have to compete for space in the room. You don't have to apologize for taking up space in this world. You simply exist, and that existence is enough. One of the biggest roadblocks to believing in your worth is the fear of failure. We live in a society that tells us that failure is something to avoid at all costs. But failure isn't a reflection of your worth. Failure is an event, not a person. It's a moment. It's an experience. but it doesn't define you. You cannot tie your sense of self-worth to success or failure because those are temporary conditions. Your worth is constant. It is unshakable. Failure doesn't erase your value. It just means you learn something and you have the opportunity to try again, this time with more wisdom, more strength, and more resilience. The fear of failure holds so many people back from even trying. It keeps them stuck in a place of self-doubt, unable to move forward, afraid that they'll fall short, afraid that they won't measure up. But let me tell you something, failing is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen is not trying at all. The worst thing that can happen is sitting on the sidelines of your own life, afraid to take a step because you're terrified of what might go wrong. Failure is part of growth. If you've never failed, you've never pushed yourself hard enough. You've never dared to try something new, something bold. You've stayed in your comfort zone where nothing ever challenges you to grow. But growth doesn't happen in the safe spaces. Growth happens when you step out, when you risk, when you push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. And when you fail, you learn, you pick yourself up. You get stronger, you get smarter, you get better. Believing in your worth means embracing that failure is not the end. It's just part of the process. It's not a reason to stop. It's a reason to keep going. Failure is an indictment on who you are. It's an invitation to try again, to come back stronger, to keep moving forward. Another part of believing in your worth is accepting that you are deserving of success. So often people sabotage their own success because they don't feel like they deserve it. They don't feel like they've worked hard enough. They feel like they're not worthy of receiving the rewards for their effort. But the truth is that you are worthy of success. You are deserving of all the good things that come your way. And the minute you start accepting that truth is the minute your life begins to change. When you believe you're worthy of success, you stop playing small. You stop holding yourself back. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into the expectations of others. You step into your power. You embrace your potential. You take risks. And you go after your dreams with everything you've got. You stop waiting for permission to succeed. You give yourself permission. You stop apologizing for wanting more, for aiming higher, for dreaming bigger. You are worthy of every bit of success that comes your way, and you should never doubt that. One of the most powerful ways to reinforce this belief in your worth is through your actions. It's one thing to say, I am enough, but you've got to back that up with the way you live your life. Your actions should reflect your belief in your worth. If you believe you're worthy of success, then you should take actions that align with that belief. If you believe you're worthy of love, then you should surround yourself with people who value and respect you. If you believe you're worthy of health and happiness, then you should prioritize taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. You cannot be passive in your own life. You have to actively believe in your worth and act in ways that reflect that. When you start living in alignment with your own worth, everything changes. You start showing up in the world differently. You start demanding more from yourself and others. You stop settling for less than you deserve. When you stop settling, the world will start to respond to you differently. People will start to treat you the way you treat yourself. When you act like you're worthy, others will begin to see you that way too. When you start to compare yourself to others, you're giving away your power. You're telling yourself that you're not enough as you are. You're allowing someone else's success or someone else's progress to determine your value. But remember, your journey is unique. The person you're comparing yourself to is on a completely different road, and their path has no bearing on your own. You must stop looking outside of yourself for validation. Look inside. You are the only person who can define your worth. And it's crucial that you know your worth because everything else in your life will stem from that. If you don't believe you're worthy, then you'll allow others to treat you in ways that are less than what you deserve. You'll allow people to walk all over you, take advantage of you, and make you feel like you're not good enough. But when you believe you are worthy, you'll set healthy boundaries, you'll demand respect. You'll stop settling for anything less than what you deserve. That's why believing in your worth is not just an internal exercise, it's a boundary-setting tool. When you know your worth, you don't have to beg for attention or approval. You don't have to compete for space in the room. You don't have to apologize for taking up space in this world. You simply exist, and that existence is enough. One of the biggest roadblocks to believing in your worth is the fear of failure. We live in a society that tells us that failure is something to avoid at all costs. But failure isn't a reflection of your worth. Failure is an event, not a person. It's a moment, it's an experience. But it doesn't define you. You cannot tie your sense of self-worth to success or failure because those are temporary conditions. Your worth is constant. It is unshakable. Failure doesn't erase your value. It just means you learn something and you have the opportunity to try again, this time with more wisdom, more strength, and more resilience. The fear of failure holds so many people back from even trying. It keeps them stuck in a place of self-doubt, unable to move forward, afraid that they'll fall short, afraid that they won't measure up. But let me tell you something, failing is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen is not trying at all. The worst thing that can happen is sitting on the sidelines of your own life, afraid to take a step because you're terrified of what might go wrong. Failure is part of growth. If you've never failed, you've never pushed yourself hard enough. You've never dared to try something new, something bold. You've stayed in your comfort zone where nothing ever challenges you to grow. But growth doesn't happen in the safe spaces. Growth happens when you step out, when you risk, when you push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. And when you fail, you learn. You pick yourself up. You get stronger, you get smarter, you get better. Believing in your worth means embracing that failure is not the end. It's just part of the process. It's not a reason to stop. It's a reason to keep going. Failure is an indictment on who you are. It's an invitation to try again, to come back stronger, to keep moving forward. Another part of believing in your worth is accepting that you are deserving of success. So often people sabotage their own success because they don't feel like they deserve it. They don't feel like they've worked hard enough. They feel like they're not worthy of receiving the rewards for their effort. But the truth is that you are worthy of success. You are deserving of all the good things that come your way. And the minute you start accepting that truth is the minute your life begins to change. When you believe you're worthy of success, you stop playing small. You stop holding yourself back. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into the expectations of others. You step into your power. You embrace your potential. You take risks and you go after your dreams with everything you've got. You stop waiting for permission to succeed. You give yourself permission. You stop apologizing for wanting more, for aiming higher, for dreaming bigger. You are worthy of every bit of success that comes your way, and you should never doubt that. One of the most powerful ways to reinforce this belief in your worth is through your actions. It's one thing to say, I am enough, but you've got to back that up with the way you live your life. Your actions should reflect your belief in your worth. If you believe you're worthy of success, then you should take actions that align with that belief. If you believe you're worthy of love, then you should surround yourself with people who value and respect you. If you believe you're worthy of health and happiness, then you should prioritize taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. You cannot be passive in your own life. You have to actively believe in your worth and act in ways that reflect that. When you start living in alignment with your own worth, everything changes. You start showing up in the world differently. You start demanding more from yourself and others. You stop settling for less than you deserve. And when you stop settling, the world will start to respond to you differently. People will start to treat you the way you treat yourself. When you act like you're worthy, others will begin to see you that way too. Believing in your worth also means having the courage to make decisions that are in your best interest, even if they're difficult. You will face moments when you have to choose between what's easy and what's right. You'll have to choose between the comfort of staying where you are and the discomfort of pushing yourself to grow. Believing in your worth means making the tough choice, the choice that will lead you to a better, more fulfilling life. Even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, you make the choice to honor yourself, to honor your potential, to honor your purpose. The journey to fully believing in your worth is not an overnight process. It's something you must practice every day. It's about learning to trust yourself, It's about learning to forgive yourself when you make mistakes and not allowing those mistakes to define who you are. It's about knowing that you are enough right here, right now, and that you always will be. Your worth doesn't come from the outside. It doesn't come from what you have or what you've achieved. It comes from who you are. And who you are is enough. The moment you truly internalize this truth is the moment everything shifts. You start to move through the world with a different energy. You stop doubting yourself. You stop apologizing for being yourself. You stop shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You start living boldly. You start living with purpose. You start living like you know you're enough. And that, my friend, is where the magic happens. Because when you believe you are enough, there is no limit to what you can achieve. There is no. You can have all the talent in the world. You can have the best ideas, the biggest dreams, and the most passion. But none of that matters if you don't commit to consistency and discipline. Talent alone is not enough. The world is full of talented people who never reach their potential because they lack consistency. They start strong but falter when things get tough, when the novelty wears off, or when the work becomes harder than they expected. But those who achieve greatness are the ones who show up every day, even when they don't feel like it. They are the ones who stay disciplined, who commit to the process, even when results aren't immediate or obvious. Discipline is the cornerstone of success. It's the quality that separates those who reach their potential from those who don't. It's the ability to keep going even when you don't feel motivated, even when the path is uncertain, even when the reward is distant. It's about doing the work day in and day out, regardless of how you feel or what obstacles come your way. People talk about motivation a lot, but motivation is fleeting. It comes in bursts, and it's often based on emotions or external circumstances. One day you feel fired up and ready to conquer the world, but the next day you might feel exhausted, discouraged, or distracted. Motivation is important, but it's not enough to sustain you over the long term. Discipline, on the other hand, is something you can rely on. Discipline isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about making a commitment to yourself and your goals and sticking to that commitment even when things aren't easy. When you commit to consistency, you're choosing to create a routine that leads to success. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of thousands of small actions that compound over time. It's the decision to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing to take consistent, deliberate action towards your goals, regardless of how far away they may seem. When you encounter failure, there are essentially two paths you can take. You can let failure define you, use it as proof that you're not good enough, and allow it to erode your confidence. Or you can use failure as fuel, view it as an essential part of your growth, and choose to press forward with renewed determination. The difference between these two paths comes down to your attitude. Attitude is everything. It's how you interpret your experiences, how you decide to frame challenges and setbacks. People with a growth mindset, those who view failure as a natural part of the learning process, respond differently than those who have a fixed mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you may believe that failure means you are inherently flawed or incapable of succeeding. But if you have a growth mindset, you understand that failure is not an indication of your inability. It's simply information that you can use to improve and move forward. Think about it when you were a child learning to walk. You didn't give up after the first fall. You didn't decide, I'll never walk, so why try? No, you got up again and again, each time learning a little more about how to balance and take a step. As we get older, we tend to forget that this is the same process for everything we want to achieve. Failure is not a signal to stop trying, it's part of the learning curve. The key to your success lies in how you handle those moments when things don't go as planned. Your attitude will shape your ability to bounce back. In moments of failure, there's a temptation to spiral into self-doubt, to feel like the whole world is against you, and to wallow in negative emotions. But it's in these moments that you have the power to choose a different response. You can choose to see failure as an opportunity to grow, a chance to refine your approach, a test of your resilience. You can choose to learn from the experience rather than be defeated by it. One of the most important things to remember is that failure is not permanent. It's not a sentence. It's not who you are. It's a temporary setback, and just like all things in life, it will pass. The most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by avoiding failure. They got there by learning to fail forward. Every failure they encountered was an opportunity to grow, to improve, and to get closer to their goal. They didn't let failure become a dead end. They turned it into a stepping stone. But it's not just about changing your attitude. It's about taking responsibility for your response to failure. You can't control everything that happens to you in life, but you can always control how you respond to it. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances when things don't go your way. You might think that the economy, your boss, or your lack of resources is the reason you're not succeeding, but the truth is, no one is responsible for your success but you. When you take responsibility for your response to failure, you empower yourself. You stop playing the victim and start becoming the architect of your own success. When something doesn't work out, instead of pointing fingers, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time this shift in mindset puts you in the driver's seat of your own life? And that's where real power lies. It's also important to recognize that failure is not always a reflection of your worth or ability. Failure is simply part of the process of becoming better, more skilled, and more knowledgeable. Many times you'll fail not because you're not good enough, but because you haven't yet learned the lessons required for success. If you think of failure as a teacher, you'll begin to look at your mistakes with curiosity rather than fear. What can I learn from this experience? How can I improve my approach? These are the questions that lead to growth. One of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal when it comes to responding to failure is self-compassion. It's easy to beat yourself up when you fail, to tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never make it, that you should have done better. But negative self-talk doesn't help anyone. It only reinforces the feeling of defeat. Instead, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend going through a tough time. Failure is not a reason to punish yourself. It's a reason to be patient, to show yourself grace, and to keep trying. You need to acknowledge the pain of failure, but then you must also let it go. Don't allow the sting of failure to linger longer than it needs to. Don't get stuck in the what ifs or could have beens. Once you've learned from the experience, it's time to move forward. Remember, you can't change the past, but you can control what you do moving forward. You get to decide whether you use failure as a reason to stop or as a reason to keep going. Now, let's talk about resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to face setbacks with strength and perseverance. Resilience is built through experience, through facing challenges, struggling, and coming out the other side. It's not about never failing, it's about how you handle the failure. Resilience is what allows you to get back up time and time again when life knocks you down. Resilience is not an innate quality, it's a skill that can be developed. It's about building mental toughness, learning to stay calm and focused in the face of difficulty, and maintaining a sense of hope, even when things don't go as planned. When you develop resilience, you stop seeing failure as something to fear and start seeing it as an opportunity to prove your ability to persevere. If you want to take control of your attitude in response to failure, you must practice resilience every day. You must remind yourself that failure is just another part of the journey. It's not the end, but a temporary detour. You are not defined by your failures, but by how you choose to respond to them. Every time you experience failure, you have a choice. You can choose to be defeated, to give up, to allow failure to rob you of your confidence and drive. Or you can choose to rise, to learn from your mistakes, to keep going, and to use your failures as stepping stones towards success. The key is not to avoid failure, but to face it head on with the right attitude. Your response is everything. Failure will come, but how you choose to respond to it is what will ultimately define your success. The attitude you take toward failure will determine whether you let it break you or build you. The world is full of stories of people who failed time and time again, but who kept getting up. People who refused to be defined by their failures and instead used them as fuel to go further, faster, and stronger. What separates the winners from the losers is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to give up, the commitment to keep going despite the setbacks. You're not going to make it very far in life if you don't take care of yourself. You can have all the ambition in the world, all the drive, and all the talent, but if you don't prioritize your well-being, everything else will eventually crumble. We live in a world that celebrates the hustle, the grind, the go mentality. We're taught that success is all about working harder, pushing yourself to the limit, and never taking a break. But the truth is, when you neglect your physical, emotional, and mental health, you're not doing yourself any favors. In fact, you're sabotaging your own success. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that self-care is selfish or indulgent. Society sometimes makes us feel guilty for taking time for ourselves, for stepping back and recharging. But self-care is not just about taking bubble baths or going on spa days. It's about recognizing that you are your most valuable asset, and if you don't take care of yourself, you won't have the strength, energy, or clarity to achieve your goals. If you want to reach the highest levels of success, you need to understand that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep pushing forward when you're running on fumes. You need to prioritize your health physically, mentally, and emotionally so that you have the capacity to give your best to everything else in your life. Taking care of yourself is not just about physical exercise or eating right, although those are important. Self-care is about giving yourself permission to rest, to take breaks, to slow down when you need to. It's about recognizing when you're approaching burnout and knowing when to step back and recharge. You can't keep grinding day after day without giving your body and mind the rest they need. That's how you become depleted, how you lose your passion, how you lose sight of why you're even pursuing your dreams in the first place. But here's the thing, self-care isn't something that you do only when things are going wrong or when you're feeling overwhelmed. It's something that needs to be a part of your daily routine. Self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's an ongoing commitment to your well-being, a reminder that you are your most important asset. You need to build self-care into your daily life so that you don't reach the point of burnout. You need to create habits that nurture your physical health, your emotional health, and your mental health so that you can perform at your highest level. Let's talk about physical self-care first. We often treat our bodies like machines, pushing them to perform at high levels without ever giving them the proper fuel or rest they need. If you're not sleeping enough, if you're eating poorly, if you're not moving your body, your energy levels will plummet, and your ability to focus and perform will diminish. You can't expect to be at your best if you're not taking care of your body. You need to prioritize sleep. Getting enough rest is crucial for maintaining your cognitive function, emotional balance, and overall health. You need to eat nourishing foods that fuel your body and give you the energy you need to tackle your goals. And you need to move your body. Exercise not only strengthens your body, but it also clears your mind and boosts your mood. But physical self-care is only one aspect of the equation. Emotional self-care is just as important. Life is full of ups and downs, and if you're not managing your emotions, you can easily become overwhelmed. It's important to create space for your emotions, to acknowledge them, and to process them in healthy ways. Bottling up your emotions or ignoring them will only lead to stress, burnout, and mental exhaustion. You need to give yourself permission to feel what you feel and to take the time to address your emotional needs. This might look like journaling, meditating, talking to a therapist, or simply spending time with people who lift you up. It's about understanding that your emotional well-being is just as important as your physical health. When you take the time to nurture your emotions, you become more resilient, more grounded, and better equipped to handle the challenges that come your way. And then there's mental self-care. This is where many people struggle, especially in today's fast-paced, always connected world. We're constantly bombarded with information, distractions, and demands on our time. It's easy to get caught up in the chaos and to lose sight of what really matters. Mental self-care is about creating space in your life for focus, clarity, and reflection. It's about learning how to shut out the noise, how to prioritize what's important, and how to protect your mental energy. This could mean setting boundaries with your time, learning how to say no, or simplifying your life so that you're not constantly overwhelmed. It might mean engaging in activities that promote mental clarity, like reading, practicing mindfulness, or simply spending time in nature. Mental self-care is about giving yourself the mental space to think clearly, to make thoughtful decisions, and to be present in your life. When you take care of your mind, you're able to think creatively, solve problems more effectively, and approach challenges with confidence.